Hey guys, I wanted to share something with you to help you weather the storm during this pandemic that we're all facing. I know that virtual learning is important and getting out there and getting in contact with your students is also important. So I found this really neat website that I wanted to share with you. It allows remote learning. It allows you to share um, different information with your students and allows them to share back with you remotely or in a blended setting. So it really kind of works in a lot of different ways. And I'm going to take you there now and just kind of give you an overview of it. It's called Dotstorming. And hopefully, you use brainstorming in your class sessions to engage learning. Um, and I thought the title was also fitting, you know. But you'll see why it's called Dotstorming when I get there, when we get there. Okay, so first thing you do when you get there is you log in with whatever information that you signed up with. Obviously, your password information. And that's going to take you to the main page. If you have not logged in before, it's going to give you sort of an overview. Welcome to Dotstorming. Up here in the corner, it will give you an option to either select a membership or continue with their free service, which is just fine. The only downside to the free service is that you can only do one dot storm at a time, which is fine for remote learning. You just can't necessarily save your work if you wanted to go back to it, um, you know, for other classes or go back to it to get your results or your feedback. Problem is that it doesn't retain the information, but for just a few dollars a month, you can get the information retained, and you can make as many dot storms as you like. So, um, number one, we're going to check out what is dot storming. It sort of takes you to an overview board. So this is a dot storming board. It just kind of gives you an overview of what kinds of things you can do. You can actually go back and start creating your own stuff here. And if you get an upgraded membership, it actually allows you to, export your boards, set your background themes, and all that stuff, which is pretty cool. So, we can set our backgrounds. I like to have mine, look like my classroom, and I have a virtual classroom. So, we could select something like this, and we could save, and that's gonna lock in my background. So, and if you opted to do that, then that's fine too. Okay. You can add cards, and basically you can add questions and get immediate feedback using dots. That's why it's called dot storming. But let's go back to the beginning. What you want to do first of all, we'll start from scratch, is you want to delete this board because you don't really need this. It kind of gives you an overview, and if you're there for the first time, then you might need that. But me, I don't want this right now, so I'm going to go ahead and delete this. Okay, so there are currently no spaces, so I want to create a space. And you could create a few different spaces. You can create a workspace, which is simply what it says. It's just a place to work. A collage, which would be, you and your students uploading images. It can be a wall or a voting board. The wall and the voting board kind of work the same way. Basically, it's just a canvas to put ideas. And that's what brainstorming is all about, right? We get together in a meeting and we want to generate ideas. Dotstorming can help you do that. So now let's create a voting board. So I want to title this Tragic Hollywood Stars. We can repeat that. Okay, so we want to think about Hollywood stars that may have been lost too early. And we're going to give students maybe two options to vote. And we're going to share that with a link. So, and you have additional features, but we're going to share that with a link. But here's your additional features. You have the card options. You can require approval. You can make the card owner visible. You can do private voting. You can lock the board. You can disable voting. And you can disable comments. Those are all important features for teaching in a classroom setting. Just wanted to show you those. But once you're finished with that section, you can create your voting board. Now it's going to generate your voting board. So tragic Hollywood stars. Think about Hollywood stars who were lost too early. Who do you think is missed the most? So what you need to first start doing is you can either create some cards for this, or you can share it out to your students so that they can also create some cards for this. So let's share. The way you do that is you select the share button and you select the link, and you can click the copy button, obviously. And then what we're going to do is we're going to open an incognito window, and we're just going to kind of look at what the student would see. When Dotstorming comes up, it asks the student for a name, and Jimmy's going to join the class. Okay, so as you can see, both Jimmy and myself are in the class. Now this board currently has no cards, so let's go back to the teacher view. And on the Dotstorming board, we should be able to see what the teacher would see. We're back to the link that we used, so let's close that out. And now what you see is the teacher view. So what we're going to do is we're going to upload some cards or add some cards, and you can do that really easily, and you can change some of the formatting features of the card, especially color coding features. I like those. So let's pick this color. Let's say James Dean. Okay, so that generates that particular card on both boards. You have your teacher view, and then that also marries over to the student view. As you can see, we're viewing as Jimmy, and Jimmy has 2 votes available. So back to the teacher view now. We're going to generate some other cards, and we want to keep things as relevant as possible. So you might think about including other stars that were lost early that are more relevant to the students. Chadwick Boseman, who plays Black Panther. The students might know more about this person than they would James Dean. And then, just in case Jimmy is a movie buff or, likes movies, maybe he has some ideas of his own. So over in Jimmy's view, Jimmy has the option. He might want to upload an image. So Jimmy is actually going to, maybe be searching the web at this point in time. And he might surprise you. Here's another star lost too soon. He adds an image, and maybe he wants to caption that image. And we're going to upload. So Jimmy has just added to our board. So you can see how this becomes a brainstorming session. So let's go back to our view, and now the teacher, I'm absolutely blown away that someone started to add some relevant and definitely on-topic information. And you need to talk to your students about what's on topic and what's not. But this will definitely add to our discussion. So, you can add names on your cards, and you can even add images, which, I like. Maybe students are interested in the Fast and Furious movies. You can add more cards. This time we have a villain, Heath Ledger, who played Joker. Maybe students are interested in these types of things. So we have some classic actors, actresses. We have some more relevant and up-to-date actors and actresses for them to choose from. So when does this become a brainstorming session? Well, immediately when students start to interact with it, such as Jimmy putting down Marilyn Monroe. So you're going to ask them to explain their response. And you're going to see that over here in Jimmy's view, that also pops up in his chat menu. Okay, so back to the teacher menu. Now, you have a chance to vote just like the kids do. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use up my votes. And I'm going to say that just because my little boy loves Black Panther, I'm going to say that that's very tragic. Now, what you start to see are filled in circles or dots for particular choices that you make. And that's where it becomes dot storming. So what happens is your students are going to hit you with a barrage of dots, and you're going to see those dots start to fill. So as Jimmy comes into play, Jimmy's actually going to give us a couple of his dots, and Jimmy's also in the superhero movies. So Jimmy's going to give us Chadwick Boseman and Heath Ledger because he loves Batman and he loves Black Panther. So he's a DC and an Avenger fan. And you can see those start to fill in our list. Okay, and I can use one more of my votes. So I vote for Chadwick Boseman again. I'm just going to give him both of my votes simply because I want to show you this feature. You can actually rank your choices by votes. And what you see is that whichever choice has the most votes is going to appear first on the list. Okay. Now, let's say you want to change your vote. So I want to take one of my votes away from Chadwick Boseman, and I want to go old school this time, and I want to give that to Marilyn Monroe. Okay. You can do that as well. Now, I'm still ranked, according, to number of votes in alphabetical order, which falls first. You can generate your link and you can throw that out to the students on Google Classroom or your choice of how you communicate with your students. Then you can go back to your home and all of the things that you used will actually appear on your menu, on your home menu. So you got your tragic stars question that you asked, and you can share that with other students as well. You can create spaces. You can create a wall. So you can give that a name. You can maybe do a word wall. And you can share that with a link. People viewing this wall can make changes to it. People can rejoin the board with the same name after leaving. So then we want to just add that wall. So you double click, you make a card. It's kind of like a Post-it note. So you just might want to talk about irony. Maybe we're talking about Hollywood stars, or you might want to talk about tragedy. And you just kind of give a definition of what that would be. And you can have your students post. Okay, and then they can click on that and they can actually edit. You can connect other boards or other messages to this. So let's create one over here and say tragedy. Maybe you're talking about Shakespeare. Sort of a new Post-it note. And you can add more information to these as you go along. You can resize them. You can lock them to the board so that students can't mess with them. Depending upon what you want to add to the Post-it, it becomes pretty relevant. And you can also add images as well. If you wanted to go back in and add an image to your wall, maybe we want to talk about the thinker. Maybe you're talking about the artist who created the statue. We can go back. We can, disable or enable any of the features that you want. It's editable. You can change the color of the backgrounds and things like that. We can go back and it's going to show our different topics. You can create workspaces. You can create collages. Okay, so let's say that we wanted to talk more about our Hollywood actors or actresses. You can go through and you can select a particular image that you want to talk about on your board, and you can even set up group or individual drawing on here, which I like. You can also share with a link. So we're going to add that. And what that does, it actually generates a canvas for us, and we're able to all see it at the same time, depending on whether or not you share. Okay, so it shows our participants. So if we go back, actually we'll share, we will copy our link, and we're going to take Jimmy's canvas away and give him a new one. It's going to ask us for sign-in information. So we're just going to say Jimmy. Jimmy's joined. This is what Jimmy sees, okay? And chat features enabled, obviously. But look at these features up here. You have sort of a drawing palette up here, which is interesting. You can splash it with fill. You can just do paint brushes. Take a photo and upload. That's great. Text features. You got shape features, drawing features, and erasing features. So you, as the teacher, you have an undo redo button, but you can start adding, different things. So you can write, you can add text boxes, move that wherever you want to on the screen. We can undo, obviously, get rid of that, put our C back on. Add images, we can add filler, and free draw. Adding shapes. Now you can see where, this has potential as far as what you can do with it. Maybe you wanted to add different pictures of different Hollywood stars who face tragedy, maybe were lost too early. You want to generate ideas, and you just wanted to do it on a really good background. But once you go over to student view, they're going to be able to start adding things as well. They have free drawing tools. They're going to be able to also add shapes. They can feel those shapes. So, depending upon what kind of color they want to add, they can start filling those in. Draw lines. Oh, and we messed up. So you, as the teacher, then you can go in and you can undo that last step, which is important. So again, has lots of potential. And let's go back because we're kind of finished with that one. But the potential is there. It's got a few different really great features that I wanted to share with you guys. Again, this is called Dotstorming, and it is available for free. There is an option for paid subscription, and there's a lot of different options. That some of them are pretty cheap. So look into this one. Just wanted to share it with you guys, sort of as some ammunition against the storm that we're facing, which is this crazy virtual learning that everybody got thrown into really quickly. So if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and go watch some more of the tech videos they've given you, because I like to walk people through some of the things that I learned about, because when I go to try to figure out how to use them, there aren't very clear tutorials out there. So hopefully this one helped you out.